Welcome to the Innovators Insider Podcast. I'm Richard Doyle, the user group guy, alongside my co-host, Michael LaFleche, the professor. And today we're going to be talking about the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. And Michael, it was great having you out here. I know it was wintertime here in Las Vegas, so you didn't really get to enjoy that desert heat. But we had a great time at the show. We enjoyed hanging out for a few days, and it was just a really great experience. I think for me, the best thing, and we'll get into what we saw and some of the great things that we heard. For me, the best thing was being around that many people again and walking a show floor and talking to folks and shaking some hands. It was really great to get back out there again.
It was wicked nice to get out there, and it was warmer than it was in Boston, so I wasn't complaining. I had one 60-degree day. I actually was brave and jumped in the pool at the Bellagio there in 60 degrees, so it felt pretty good to me.
I guess for somebody from the Boston area in wintertime, 60 degrees is balmy. For us out here, it's still jacket weather. So
every year in Boston, they do the polar bear plunge in South Boston. They have a whole bunch of people that just get down to their skivvies and jump in the water and it is cold. I've never done it, but maybe someday.
No, I don't think I could do that. I think I would chicken out at the very last minute. I just look at that cold water and just nope, this is not for me. So.
But yeah, CES is great, and we have a great show, right?
We've got some great guests coming up, and we've got a nice little camera roll here, or video roll that we're gonna roll, that kind of highlights our experiences at CES this year.
Yeah.
So Michael, why don't you cue that up, and we'll start talking about some of the things that we saw.
Yeah. This was great. We had the best intentions to have like a nice welcome to Las Vegas intro here, and you can see us talking, but you can't hear us. And there's a good reason, right? I mean, if you know where this sign is, it's right at the foot of the runway at the airport.
Yeah. So we had a little problem with background noise, and maybe we were standing a little too far away from the camera too.
Yeah.
Because I think I looked at this raw video and I cranked it up really loud. If you really want to, you can hear us, but it's not worth sitting through that background noise. So
I can usually try to fix these things post-process, but it just wasn't a thing. But like you said, it was nice to be with people, and here I am entering the one of the buildings here, and of course a lot of augmented reality, virtual reality stuff, visual display stuff, a lot of things like that were really exciting, I thought.
I thought so too. And first, I want to give some props to the organizers of CES and the staff that worked there too, because everything ran really smoothly. I mean, you got into the show, there was transportation available to get. People might not realize this, but the Las Vegas Convention Center is huge, and to walk from one end of the other, one end to the other, takes quite a bit of time. And there were transportation options to actually get you in between those sections of the conference center. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, we'll see that later in the video, and don't want to steal our own thunder, but yeah, the display technology was amazing. This was one of the displays, about 100 curved LED panels, and it was just overwhelming when you walk through here, seeing these whales floating above you, and it was one of the more popular things, I think, in the theaters here at CES. And you can just see that whale there, and the scale of the people is just incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's I really thought it was like Star Trek 4. Sustainability. A lot of sustainability, green type stuff.
Electric, lots and lots of electric.
Exactly.
That was one of the things I took. These are the Da Vinci motorcycles. Is that the Da Vinci ones? I think that is.
I think it is. Yeah, they had some really nice, sharp, stealth fighter looking lines.
Yeah. I mean, at my age, hunching over a machine like that is probably not going to happen. But they are fun to look at, and it's fun to think about the tech behind that. Here's some more. Here's some more electric transportation, and like I say, it was everywhere. It was scooters and cars and bicycles and motorcycles, just about everything. Even a lawnmower. There was electric lawnmowers there as well.
That's right. Yeah, I have a complete set of electric home equipment now.
Yeah.
It's really convenient. But like, look at this car. I mean, this is incredible. Of course, these are concept vehicles. DeLorean here, but
DeLorean. Wow.
yeah. So
Set up also time machine.
I didn't ask, but yeah,
people movers were big.
Yeah, EV though, all
Yeah.
EV all over the place at this place. So that's the trend this year. A lot of electric vehicle stuff. Here it is outside. Beautiful day in Vegas here, but there's lots of events even at the Venetian and things like that.
Yep.
There were a number of different exhibits here at the lawnmowers you were just talking.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. I don't have one like this though. This one looks like it's almost like a Roomba, but for the outside.
I was really impressed with their booth. The imagery, the models they had up on the walls were really nice, very well put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing. I've been to a lot of conferences before. This was my first time at CES, and most of the shows that I've been to have been much smaller. The booths are still nice, but they're much smaller. They're not millions and millions of dollars worth of, put into these booths, but you can tell at CES, some of those are, that much money to put together.
Yeah. I recognize the striped shirt and that hairdo there.
Hey, that might be me.
But yeah, we, get some golf simulator.
And, I was watching this because, I used to play quite a bit of golf when I was younger, and then I found poker and I quit playing golf. And I think simulators are cool, and I think they have their place. I was not a big fan. I tried a couple of them, early on in the day, and I don't know, when you have that feeling of striking a golf ball and watching it hit the grass, or putting over real grass, going to a simulator, it's a letdown. It sure is.
It certainly helps keep you sharp though. If you're
for practice, yes.
But this one I appreciated, right here, all these shoes and everything. I always hear, shoes are just not a comfortable thing for especially the heels and stuff like that, right? But this company found a way of doing 3D scanning and custom fitting of shoes.
Custom shoes.
This was one of the 3D printer companies. It looks like, with some of their stuff on display. Very cool resin style 3D printer G3. Yep. D, really well done.
Yep. Captain America.
Yeah, these things are beautiful works of art.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of 3D printing companies were there as well, and we did get a chance to see some of them.
Yes, absolutely. Sport, some more sports stuff here as far as training and things like that, sports training. And
so I was telling that at the Garmin booth, they had a lot of these new watches, smart watches, very beautiful, really nice looking watches. So I was asking one of the salespeople there about them, and I have a real history of breaking crystals on watches.
Okay.
In fact, that's why I don't wear one to this day, because I just break them. I run into things constantly. I don't know why, but I do. So I don't wear a watch. So I was asking her if they had anything that was shatter proof, and she was talking, shatter resistant, and and I told her the story about breaking watches, and she said, well, honestly, if you break one of these, I think it's time to replace you.
That was pretty funny. I was rolling on the floor laughing for sure when I heard that one. That was the highlight of my day.
But yeah, some cool tech. Oh, the electric scooters, 60 mile per hour plus electric scooters. I have a Razor E300 that does 15 miles per hour. I think that's good enough for me.
Did you say 60?
60 miles per hour.
Okay.
Standing up, and these are really nice scooters. I mean, you don't get a good view from them here, but these actually have stand-up platforms. Hard to describe. They're heavy duty. I think even meant for off-road kind of trail riding kind of things. It doesn't really look like a commuter vehicle to me. Maybe like this one does.
Yeah.
But those big scooters, I think, were more for the adventurous folks out there.
Yeah, I mean, they look pretty much like nothing would ever destroy them.
Yeah. There we go. Some more electric motorcycles. I mean, just some really nice technological technology. I mean, just unbelievable, some of the things that we saw.
speaking of technology, the Hyperloop, or the Las Vegas Loop as they call it now, is was an action for this. So that's how we were getting around between the different places in the convention center, right? So that's the boring tunnel, under there. Here's how you get into the loop, right? And here we do a little quick replay. They added crazy cool LED lighting, and really made you feel like you were at home, many feet underground as you were driving under Vegas.
And the whole process was really smooth. I mean, you saw all the people there. There were lots and lots of people that wanted to take this ride. It took us maybe 30, 45 seconds to actually get, from the escalator into a car. And then move along. The drivers were all nice and friendly, willing to talk. It's just a great experience for 30 seconds or so through a tunnel.
Yeah, it was really pretty cool. Definitely beat the walk. We had some customers too. Here's Yasko Wilcox, right? We met at the show, and he's been an Onshape user now for
Onshape ambassador as well.
That's right.
And I want to give a shout out to Sam Holland, who got us connected that way. So good for Sam. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
And it was great. It was great talking to Joshua.
Yeah. So it was a great time in Vegas. I really liked going. I think I'll be going back again, right? It's really good to kind of stay in touch with what's happening out there in technology and products, especially in the world of Onshape, where so many of our clientele would be in that kind of realm and space, building products, next generation things like EV and consumer products and sports technology, tons of Onshape kind of representation in that space. So it's always good to keep in touch with the trends. So
not only that, Las Vegas is a lot of fun, and you and your wife are always welcome out here. Next time I'll take you to a different restaurant. We'll try something new.
Yes. And us to Giada's. That was a great meal. Absolutely.
Yep. And we'll have a good old time. Before we get away from CES, though, I do want to call out one of our customers and somebody that we did get to spend some time with, and that's Formlabs. And they were very gracious to us, answering our questions. We talked about the new Fuse One, which is really cool. SLS printer, their new SLS printer. And I'm a big fan of SLS. I think some of our listeners probably know I worked for DTM Corporation back in the day. I was big, early on in the SLS process. And I even got this nice little object that you can see. And this is, again, printed in one piece, or, printed in one print. So that was kind of cool. And Sarah was very excited about the Fuse One. And Eric and Gabriel, a couple of the other folks that we talked to about their automation ecosystem. And that was really cool. It's a 24/7 3D printing system. I mean, it removes the parts, it starts the new build, it removes the parts, it starts the new builds, and there's no operator interaction with any of that. It's really cool. And we'll put up a couple of links if you want to take a look at that. So I want to thank Formlabs for being very gracious and talking to us and answering our questions out at CES. So
yeah, I was very impressed with that automation system that they announced. And, one of the engineers was able to pull me aside and, brought me underneath and showed me everything and all the stuff that they had used software for and building it. And it was really, really nice to see. Yep. The ability to take a series of Formlabs printers and make it so it's a semi-mass production system, taking the parts off the plate quickly and moving parts from one place to another. It was very, very well done. And they were so excited to show it.
That really stood out. And Sarah with the Fuse One, she was just as excited. In fact, they were competing to see who could be more excited about their project. So it was really nice.
Yeah.
So that was CES, and let's just say Viva Las Vegas. We had a great time, and it was good having you out here, Mike. So
thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's move on. We've got a couple of great guests. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Onshape Live, and that's coming up March 1st in the US here, March 2nd in EMEA, and we've got a couple of great guests. Let's go ahead and bring in our Senior VP of Research and Development, Vajrang Parvate. And also, I'm sorry. And we'll bring in McKenzie Brunelle too. She is the education lead, right?
Yes.
somehow I didn't write down your title, McKenzie, but I kind of knew it from the past. So I apologize for that. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Vajrang, and thanks again for coming on to the show, McKenzie. It's always nice to have you, and there's always some good stuff happening relating to Onshape Live when it relates to McKenzie's involvement, and this time we have some design competitions. But before we get into that, I think let's talk about what I think a lot of people come to Onshape Live for. Just a little secret, the sneak peek, right? The sneak peek is always like, I would always be jazzed when I went to a CAD conference and they would kind of give us a little bit of what's coming, right? It was always like my favorite thing when I went to the other conferences in the CAD industry that we all used to go to, and it's really my favorite part, Vajrang. You must be excited to be able to lead this particular year. What's got you excited about it?
Well, first of all, this is the first year I'm leading the sneak peek at Onshape Live. First time I'm emceeing it, so I'm really excited to be part of the seeing how the production is done, getting all of the demos, seeing the sneak peek of the sneak peek, before it actually is shown at Onshape Live. So that's certainly super exciting to see the whole process.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's your first time you've taken over as the SVP, and we're really happy to have you. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of background for the people watching that might not know who you are.
Yeah, so I'm actually a mechanical engineer, but I've always been in the CAD software domains for over 25 years now, and I've been at several other CAD and simulation places in the past, and I've been at Onshape for just shy of 2 years now. But in the past, before taking on this role of heading up R&D, I was doing a lot of product telemetry and user behavioral analysis, which is somewhat of a passion of mine, is to see how users are using the product and using a lot of that information to, help make the product better.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, it was always fascinating to see that data, because Vajrang, shared it with us inside the company. And I just loved some of the things that people asked you to look at when it came to gathering that data. And it was very interesting to see. So,
and it's all about making, the best business decisions, for the company, I would imagine, right?
And for the customers.
And for the customers. But in speaking of that, like, when we come up with something like this sneak peek, like what is that process like? I mean, maybe I should even step back, like, how do all things in Onshape kind of operate as far as a feature request kind of process, right? How do we get the cool ideas into Onshape for people to use? Like, how does that happen, Vajrang?
So there's several places we could start, but I think the shortest line I can draw is what John Herstick, our founder, always loves to say, is the customer is the center of our universe. So it always starts there with our customers, our users, which are now more than 3 million, as we've announced before, put in announcement request tickets through our support team, who go through, analyze, and group and bucket sort of various areas of the product, whether it's a core modeling feature, an assembly, mate enhancement, sheet metal, industrial design, sketching, data translation, you name it. So they get bucketed into all of these things, and we obviously prioritize them based on sort of urgency from customers, from sort of from a competitive standpoint, from an internal use case standpoint, dependencies, all of these things. So that's really, again, a lot of those decisions are also data driven. This is where my passion for data also helps a little bit. Like if we are doing an enhancement, one thing we like to do is, okay, how many users are actually going to use this? And then once that feature is launched, we keep track of how many users actually are using it. And if it's lower, why is it lower? Do we need to did we miss something? Or if it is more, what are they loving about it? So we keep that feedback loop going. It's not a question of getting the feature out and now we're done with it. It's the whole philosophy is constant iteration, and it sort of feeds into our agile development cycle. We have releases every 3 weeks, new enhancement, new improvements coming out. The center of all of that is getting the value in the product out to users as fast as possible.
Yep.
It's not about, oh, it'll come in a release a year from now or in some service pack after that. We don't do that, right? We just release every 3 weeks. You constantly see the updates and improvements, and then we go from there.
Yeah, it's really nice to see how quickly, sometimes you read in the forums when the update occurs, how many times people have said, oh, I just thought of that the other day and now it's here. It's like it seems to happen a lot.
That's, other than actually getting to do the live stream every 3 weeks when the update comes out, my favorite part of the whole thing is actually watching the comments, because people just get so excited about some of the new stuff that's coming along. And like you say, they're surprised to see something that they just thought of last week or last month. So
yeah, obviously it takes a little while longer than that for it to drop, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does take a very short amount of time, depending on what it is. But it is very fast. The way things can move and we can adapt and change based on the information that we have. So it's really something to see, and I'm really pinching myself all the time that I work here and I get to use this cool stuff all the time. So it's a lot of fun for me. So.
Yeah, I think the other part of your question was how does this end up in being picked for a sneak peek at Onshape Live? So this is somewhat of a challenge, I would say, because there are so many multiple things we're working on at the same time. Some of them are long sort of vision projects that take longer than just one sprint. We deliver value obviously every 3 weeks, but it takes longer to get the whole story done. So Onshape Lives comes around once a year. If we had our brothers, it would be every 3 weeks. The way you guys do, do the review of the release every time it comes out. So we have to sort of pick which projects are sort of in a state where we can demo it, because what we certainly don't want to do is show off things that we just have in our mind so far, but have nothing to demo, right? We really want to show the users a real sneak peek of what actually is in the product, is close to being finished. And this is actually a unique thing. We do the sneak peek once a year. So and normally we don't really talk about future plans because, again, things change and we want to adapt to how users react and give us feedback. But this is sort of a point in the year. We've done this in the past as well, where we show the users on a bigger time scale how a feature has progressed, where we are currently and where we are going in the next few months. So it builds sort of this picture of the vision, so to speak, of where we are headed.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that with surfacing and things like that, just continuous improvements dropping in that particular, stream of CAD functioning for sure. What were you going to say, Richard?
I was going to say, so, Vajrang, so what are some of the things that we're going to see in the sneak peek this year?
So, well, actually, you'll have to come to Onshape Live and see it yourself, right?
I set you up for that one.
Yeah, definitely sign up though, because it's coming quickly, first week of March. It's going to be something that if you like CAD, you're going to want to see this. Even if you're not an Onshape user, it's a great way of kind of seeing what we're up to, right? If you've been kind of looking from the outside, perhaps, and wondering if it's safe to jump in the water or dip your toe in. Come to Onshape Live, see what we're all about. It's a great way of meeting everybody. There's a large cross section of presenters. I'll be presenting with Vince Haley, who is an advanced surfacing design expert. So I'll be doing a talk on all the different surfacing things that have been released over since the last Onshape Live in 22. McKenzie, you actually have the great responsibility of running the design competition again this year, and I'm always excited about it. We see so many interesting, amazing, like mind-blowing things come out of it. I remember last year with the or was it the year before? The year before was the one when we had a team of 3 people build the virtual office environment, and they had the Tesla Cybertruck inside, created, moving from some haptic device. It was crazy. What was last year's, since my brain isn't thinking right now?
Yeah, so the first year, like you said, we gave a very concrete, we gave some parts that people had to model with and assemble, and we had very specific roles, but you could work with 3 people, you had 3 hours. Then the second year, we decided to kind of go the totally opposite end of the spectrum and make it very open. You could submit a part, you could submit an assembly, and you could submit a custom feature. So it was just, submit anything that you have that you've been working on over the year. And so we kind of wanted to find a good middle ground for this year that wasn't quite so open-ended, but too restrictive. And so we were really excited, actually, as we were kind of coming up with what could this year's competition be. We had already partnered with the BattleBots team Switchback, and they reached out to us and said, hey, a really cool thing that we could do together would be to have a design competition with a BattleBot. And so we worked with them to design this year's competition.
That's amazing. Yeah. And Richard, you've been able to see these fellers in real life, right?
I can hardly contain my excitement over this design contest because yes, starting last year with BattleBots Ghost Raptor, who we also sponsored, I got very involved with the BattleBots, having living here in Las Vegas, and it's just very close to the arena. So I was lucky to live here and lucky to have that experience. I got to go into the pits and see some of the teams and see how they're working. I got to see some of the live taping of the shows, which was just incredible. I've mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. A 250-pound robot throwing another 250-pound robot 15 feet into the air is a pretty cool thing to watch. And so I did spend some time with Switchback, with Greg Needle and a couple of the other team members this year over in the pits. I didn't get to watch any of their battles, but they are going on right now on the Discovery Channel. And I believe they'll be on the card this week, which will be tonight if we end up posting this thing when we're supposed to be. So, definitely check out BattleBots, check it out on the Discovery Channel. And take a look at some of the existing weapons that you might see on those shows, maybe give you some ideas that you can incorporate into Switchbacks, because that's the thing. Switchback is asking our users, our Onshape users, to design them a new weapons system, and it consists of a rotating weapon and some front forks. You'll have to watch the show to see, exactly why the forks and the rotating drum match up so well. But if you can think about that and start putting that on paper, God, the old guy in me just really came out. Start putting that in some bits and bytes, if you will, and design that weapon for Switchback. McKenzie, I think the winner or the winning design is going to get something special.
Yeah, so Switchback is actually going to be prototyping this design. So we're going to take some looks at, we'll kind of go through the top designs and look at those with Switchback, and so they can come up with which one would be great for them to prototype. And then they'll also get the Onshape championship belt. So similar to previous years, they'll get the coveted championship belt. So that's super exciting to see as well. So yeah, some great prizes. And it's really incredible because Switchback actually modeled their robot in Onshape this year. And so we were able to take that exact model that they used and that they competed with and just remove their weapon systems, or remove that spinning rotator and remove those forks. And then those same connectors are there. And so you can just develop your own system on the existing robot that they designed themselves.
So is the intent to crowdsource it to help them build the best competition robot for next year, or is this what's going on there?
Yeah, I think it's definitely to get some cool ideas, and then also, who doesn't want to design a BattleBot? I participated in FIRST Robotics when I was in high school, and you mentioned the 250-pound robots kind of tearing each other apart, and so for us it was very there's a lot of the cooperation and competing with graciousness, and so I don't know, the idea of kind of the wrecking and destroying is so crazy and fun, and so letting everyone get that opportunity in Onshape to do some of that modeling and have some fun with it themselves is really the big goal here, and just to see what other people can accomplish inside of Onshape.
Very well put. Cooperation. I like that. I'm using that word every day I can now. Thank you.
It's funny. You mentioned destruction, McKenzie, and this year they actually have increased the bonus points for destruction. So they're trying to encourage more and more actual destruction of each other's robots, as opposed to the kind of the dance around and maybe throw a few punches. They really want to see these things destroyed. So.
Crowdsourced destruction is a phrase I wasn't expecting to hear today. There you go.
Oh, this is great. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody comes up with. It's going to be fantastic. And, I'm going to put you on the spot, Vajrang.
Okay.
This is something I always like to do when I talk to somebody that's new on the show. And I always like to find out why they got into this crazy world of CAD, because it's a weird world, and it's a small world. But why CAD? Why did you get into this?
Well, I'm a mechanical engineer myself, although never having done any actual designing. I just went from school and straight into software development because I was having fun with a new computer at home, and I was teaching myself programming, C++, C to begin with, and then C++. And then this little company, also founded by John Hirschtick, happened to be opening up an office in the city I grew up in Pune, in India. And they were looking for engineering, civil, and mechanical engineers who had a little bit of an inkling towards programming. So I guess I fit the bill, and that's where I started. So I started writing code, and in Translator, Step Translator was the first project I worked on, and then multiple things after that. Mm-hmm. And then the thrill, really, what I see is designing software that other engineers use and seeing what they make using even bits of the software that you've helped write. There's no bigger thrill in the world, because it's extremely visual, right? It's very sort of rewarding in that sense. You can see immediately on the screen what other people are doing with it, and the kind of power something like Onshape can put in the hands of designers when they can collaborate, much faster than other CAD systems. I think people come up with such unique designs. One of the really cool things we have internally, and I don't know if this has been shared on the podcast before, is a Slack channel where everybody who finds a really cool public model, made with a free account in Onshape, is posted to the Slack channel. And it's the most amazing things that I've seen. Like, you could not. It's the most visceral, rewarding, visual feedback that I see in the day, and it's just so much fun.
It's amazing, to see like things you would never expect to see, but it's so well detailed and thought out, and so much time put into it. It's really awesome. You're right. That is a great channel.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why CAD, and then I guess this industry is also all about people. It's a small industry, so you run into the same folks. You and Richard and I, Mike and I, we've known each other from past lives, and I think it attracts really a lot of the best talent, and I think I love that too.
Yeah.
And McKenzie, I'm sure with all the stuff you're doing in education, and Onshape being so huge in education, I think it's just waiting to explode there too.
Absolutely. And the thing that I loved for it is just letting students, bringing them into this world as well, and letting them see something that they think of come to life on their screen. And maybe someone who doesn't have access to make something physically, if you have a Chromebook or a small device that isn't super high powered, you can get access to this and learn these skills and be able to make things and be creative and express yourself in that way. And it's just incredible to see these things connect for students and click for them. And so that's where I love the intersection of the CAD world and education. And that's definitely been my favorite place to be.
I follow a lot of education accounts on social media, and it's so much fun to see what the kids are coming up with. And I got to give props to the instructors too, because they're really excited about this as well. We've had a couple of them on the show. Dr. Laura Brown from Mesquite, Texas is just awesome. I see her on Twitter all the time with the project she's got going on with her students, and they're all excited. They're all gathered around in a crowd. They're just loving every minute of this. And so shout out to the instructors and to the students that are using Onshape and creating these fantastic things. So good for them.
Yes. Well, I think this was a great show, Richard. McKenzie, Vajrang, thank you so much for joining us today. I think, if we're going to take anything away from this, you must sign up for Onshape Live right now. Okay. Yep. Just do it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's going to be a fun afternoon. You're going to learn all about what Onshape is all about, what it means to be an Onshaper, seeing all the cool stuff. The sneak peek is always going to be great. So I'm giving a presentation, just saying, so, I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff to see. So
that's worth the price of admission right there, Mike.
Well, thank you. I'm blushing very, very hard right now. I'll get adjust.
I guess I should clarify that the price of admission is $0, right? This is a free show, so
free show. Just show up, and you're gonna enjoy it. I also, I'd be remiss to say, we also have our live in person conference coming up as well. Live Works, right?
Yep.
In May, early May, in Boston, the most beautiful time of year to be in Boston, as spring is fully sprung, and you're going to be able to see not only Onshape but all the other great technology that PTC has to offer across the entire product line and all the industries that PTC works with. It's mind-blowing, actually. So you're going to really see a lot of cool stuff. The big training on site there as well. So definitely register for that. And you just go to LiveWorks, Google LiveWorks, and you'll find it. We'll put a link in.
And it's time. It's time we all got back together. It's time we all got going with these big conferences again, and shaking hands and bumping fists or whatever you want to do. Learning from each other, sharing with each other, having lunch with each other. It's time. It's been a long 2.5 years with this pandemic thing going on. And it's time we all got back together. So join us.
Yeah, please join us. It'll be great. Well, definitely like and subscribe to these videos, because if you subscribe and get the notification bells, you'll also get the live streams as we come out with our releases. So we try to do a live stream like as soon as we humanly possibly can, as soon as the release hits, because we never know when it's going to hit. So we're in the holding pattern. Somebody hits the button, and then I'm ready to hit the button, with Richard, and we can jump in and start giving our first reaction. So definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that will guarantee that you'll get notified, for when those updates happen, because it could be anytime.
Yep, and we have a lot of fun on those live streams too. We have a lot of folks that come in and join us in the chat, and we answer some questions and say hi, and just kind of like a morning coffee with everybody.
Yeah.
So, hey, just want to mention real quick, our next show is going to be really big too. We are going to have BattleBot Switchback team members on the show, including Greg Beadle and the rest of his team. So that'll be a good show. So like Michael says, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when that episode drops. All right. Thanks to our guests. Michael, always great to be with you, buddy.
It's great to be with you. See you all later.
Bye.
Bye.
I love that.